morning, everyone. Good morning to all
Good
you people
morning.
who
Good
watch
morning.
Social Intercourse. Yeah, you guys, do you guys have like a lot of friends? Or this place says Rachel has friends. Or have you lost some friends? What's today's topic? I might be off topic.
I picked this one. This is I saw a creator that I follow on TikTok. Her name is I hope I don't say this wrong. Nicole Van Groningen. She's an MD.
Okay.
Sorry, this is the video that I watched, and she's a medical doctor in LA. Love her content. Go follow her on TikTok. But she talked about how she's a single woman in her 30s and a lot of her friends are getting married and having kids, and now there's kind of this sort of imbalance. And she actually brought up a point that I hadn't thought about, because we've always, we have married friends, friends with kids, your friendships evolve as you get older, and when you're single it's harder. But she brought up the financial aspect of it, which I hadn't really thought about before. And that's what I brought up to you guys about how, if it was something that we had encountered or not, or if we had friends who were like that. So basically it's when you get to a certain point where you're going to their weddings, their bachelorette parties, their kids christening, their birthdays or graduations, and you're spending a lot of money of your own for their family. But then when it comes to your events, you don't have those many life events and you're not getting that back. So she was talking about how she threw herself this big 30th birthday party in Ibiza, and how only certain friends came, and those were her, ride or die friends, because they were willing to sort of give that back to her, the investment of time and money, to her single status relationship. And that was the topic of the day. So, I mean, me
You know,
personally, go ahead. So go ahead, Rachel. I've talked enough. Some of you guys talk.
I was just gonna say, like, that's great that she threw herself a big party. But when it's out of the country, not everyone's gonna show up. So
Right.
I wouldn't say that just they were ride or die, because sometimes financial, and it's a wedding too. If it's far away, even if they're a close friend of mine, and financially, if I'm not like in this, I'm gonna be like, I'm sorry, I can't go to your destination wedding. I can't go to your destination birthday party. So.
Right.
I
It's just
think
an
the way she
example.
said it was a little weird, but yeah, but throw yourself a huge lavish party, invite everybody, I say, and put it in a birthday gift registry. Why not? Go for it. I'm gonna do that next year, you guys, just so you know. That's what I'm
Right.
gonna do. I expect y'all
I mean,
to sign
it
up for
doesn't have
my
to be
gift
on that scale,
registry.
right? Right. Amazon.
But
It doesn't have to be on that scale, but just, do you feel sometimes this sort of imbalance of what you're expected to do because you're single and have a disposable income, and when you're like, hey, come to my, I'm having a party at this club or something next week, can you come? Well, no, I can't. I have family, I have kids, I can't do that. I can't do that. If you want to hang out, you need to come to my house. I've had that with some married friends where it's like, well, I don't have time to hang out with you, but if you want to come hang out with me, you can come to my house with my kids and my family and hang out with us. And it's like, it's not the, it sounds petty when I say it, but it's a different relationship. It's not the same. And I don't
mhm,
really want to hang out with your kids. I have nothing against your kids. They're lovely, but like, that's not my, I don't, that's not my thing. That's why I
right.
choose not to have kids. So I don't really want to go and have a family outing when I want to hang out with you and see how you're doing and what your, my old friend is like. So sometimes I think those friendships just end up evolving,
Dissolving.
dissolving. Exactly.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times, and it's sad because I don't know that it's necessarily either party's fault. Um,
Hmm.
uh, when you get married and you have a family, it's like they become your main priority. Whereas before that, your friends were kind of your main priority. And so I don't know. And I think
As
sometimes
it
it's
should
hard to
be,
find
right?
babysitters. Right.
Hmm.
It's just hard
Right.
to mesh the two lifestyles after the fact. And it's hard to find babysitters, allegedly. And
Yeah. If your
um,
husband or significant other
Well,
isn't, great, then they're necessarily not going to
this
help.
is
Or go ahead, Rachel.
see, this is where I get a little because I was telling, I don't know, both of you guys, one of you guys, um, my one friend who's married with a child, I see her quite often, and it's because her husband parents their child. When she wants to hang out with her friends, he parents. And if he wants to go hang out with his friends, she parents.
That's great.
Because it's, like they don't have to lose their identity by themselves, who they are. And, um, I don't have a lot of friends that got married. So I never spent a lot of money on weddings or bachelorette parties because none of y'all are getting married. Why are you saying that?
We're ending up in the complex together.
Apparently not the way it's
Yeah,
looking.
but I have heard people, complain at like single people who are unmarried, who've been to countless weddings and countless baby showers and just spending lots of money on it, being expected to spend a lot of money on it. And I'm just like, I've never had to. My friends are not married. And the ones who are married with children, I met them after they were married. I never had
that's
to give them a
interesting.
wedding gift or anything.
Yeah.
And my one friend who did get married, it's when I was living in LA and she had her wedding in a different state. And she had said, "You do not have to come. I understand." And she was and I was like, "No, girl, I missed your bachelorette party because I was sick. I couldn't go." And she was like, "That's completely fine," and very understanding. So
Rachel has good
your friends
friends.
can't
I mean,
understand a situation.
obviously
I
we're a
have
good
good friends.
example
That's
of
what I'm
that,
saying.
but
I
yeah,
have
she does.
friends.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, I think that's
It's like if it's a true friend, you should be able to say, "Hey, girl, I've been to like so many weddings this year, and I'm sorry yours is at the end of the year, and I'm tapped out. I can't. Maybe next year I'll make up for it or something, but I can't go or I can't buy something off your registry." And a good friend would be like, "That's cool. I just want you to come and celebrate with
yeah,
us."
a good friend. Yeah, people get weird when they get married, though. They all of a sudden it's like Bridezilla comes out and it's like, my wedding is the most important, and how, if I'm your friend, you should have planned for that, or you knew I was getting married, or blah blah. Like, where did this person come from? Like, I had one friend that got really annoyed that we weren't all going to New Orleans for her bachelorette party. It's like, I don't have the money to do that, and she took that as a sign of offense that, we were not supporting her wedding or we were not supporting her, blah, blah, blah. And it was good to find out because obviously she's crazy. And I didn't realize that until she got married and the crazy came out. But yeah, I mean, and that doesn't necessarily mean that it's just on single people either. If you were married with a kid and your friends expect you to go and spend money on that, I mean, I'm sure that's a financial thing that you don't really, maybe they feel the opposite, where they want to hang out with their single friends, but they feel guilty because they're like, I should be spending this money on my family, or I should be spending this time with my family. And, I want to do that and I can't, or I don't know, it could be the flip reverse as well.
I think there are two kind of levels of how things fall apart. Is the first stage is when your friends get in a very serious relationship and they're doing the wedding planning and it's taking up all their time. It's hard to get them one-on-one then. And then what I found is my friends that have gone ahead and gotten married, but have not had children, after the newness of like the honeymoon phase of the marriage kind of wears off, they're starting to look for time with their friends again because they want to get back to their identity, right? But the ones that have kids, forget about it, because once you have a child, I mean, they have to be your priority, and rightly so. And I just, especially if the kids are young, I mean, I think those women that I know, they're just surviving. There's a lot of years where they're young where you're just kind of surviving on like coffee and, prayers.
So Randy, say you had a kid and you're having a first birthday party or a christening or something like that, and your single friends, okay, we'll say me, because I can't come, or I don't have the money to spend on that, or I don't want to come, or whatever it is. And then you see me on my vacation in Mexico doing whatever, would you feel slighted in that friendship, or would you feel upset that I chose to do that instead of go to your thing?
You know,
Just hypothetically.
yeah, at this
Mm.
age, I think I would understand that our lives have just kind of taken separate paths, and I'd be more understanding of it. A
Mhm.
decade ago, I'd probably be a little hurt about that. I would
Mm.
feel a little bit, but now
Mhm.
I just more emotionally mature and I kind of get it.
Mm.
I don't know. I'm the
Good point.
opposite. I would say,
Really?
why'd you lie to me? Just tell me the truth. You don't want to hang out with my kid. That's cool.
Oh, that'd be hard to say.
Because if you said that you're having financial hardship and that's why you can't come to a christening, but then
Yeah,
I
I
see
guess
you
so.
spent money on it, I'd be like, more than like not coming to the thing, I'd be like, that bitch lied to me. Like, why she
Yeah.
lied to me?
But then if I'm
My
saving all
friend,
my money and I want to go on a vacation to Mexico, I don't want to go to your kid's party and spend
right. But
a
that's what
bunch of money on
I
their
would just
gift.
be like, I think people would, as Randy said, as we're older, we're more mature and we would
Hmm.
understand that more. So if you just went to your friend and said like, listen, I'm sorry, I saved up all this money. You know, I've been wanting to go on this trip. I really wish I could do this for you, but I'm gonna be a little
Hmm.
selfish. It's like, girl, take me with you, please.
Right?
Like, I want to go.
Maybe we're a bad example.
Right? And
Yeah,
it seems to me like once people have children, they prefer to do things with other people that have children.
Yeah,
And that
because they
also makes it
understand.
more difficult. Yeah,
hmm
because your interests are just different. When you're single and when you have a
Hmm.
child, like I have no desire to like watch cartoons. And I mean, I like to go to kids' birthday parties just to visit with the other adults and of course play with the kids a little bit. Like some of them I've been to are fun, but by and large, like that
Right.
wouldn't be my first choice of spending, a Saturday afternoon. And I think people with kids are just in a different mindset
Hmm.
totally with life.
Hmm. I guess we just have to wait
Mm.
the friendship out until the kids graduate, they get
Yeah.
divorced.
Well, at
You
least
know,
till the kids. I was going to say till the kids get in school, but now it's like you have to shuttle kids back and forth to so many events. That doesn't
Right.
even give you any extra time.
You might get a new
I think
coffee.
it's hard for me because I'm just me specifically. I'm just such a different person when it comes to my friends' kids. I'm
Hmm.
like, that's my kid, that's my baby. Like I think of my friends' kids as my babies because I don't
That's an interesting
have
point
children.
though.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and I don't want kids and I don't have kids. So my friends' kids, I'm like, well, that's mine. That child is
Yeah.
my baby. And when I'm old and we're in our retirement village, they're gonna check up on us.
Uh-huh. You
So,
can get your fix. Mm. That's a
So
good point
that
too.
the last guy that I dated had a little boy and I adored him and I loved doing all the things, with him. So you're right,
Hmm.
Rachel. It's like when you feel some sense of ownership, um,
right.
it's a lot different than just someone's
And then
kids
feel
that you
like
see every once in a while or something.
Hmm.
right. So yeah, if it's an acquaintance friend, I'm like, I'm not going to that birthday party. No way. I'm gonna buy that kid a gift.
Yeah.
That's not my baby. I don't care.
Yeah. If they let you
But
borrow
when
their
it's like a
kid.
close friend,
I
yeah.
think it's so
That's the
hard
thing
too
too, is
because
we don't
nowadays, oh,
sorry, go ahead,
go ahead.
Reggie.
No, you
We don't
seemed
have
really
nieces or
excited.
nephews or anything. Mm,
I don't either.
as well. Yeah, so none of us do. So we all have to borrow our friends' kids. We're like the aunties to our friends' kids
Mhm.
because we don't actually have those. So go ahead, Reggie. What were you
Yeah.
gonna?
Um,
I'm sorry, totally talked over you.
it probably wasn't even that. If I think
I
of it,
have
I'll let you know.
ADD today. I think were you
Well,
gonna say something about financial or no? No? Okay, well if you think of it, just cut me
okay.
off and jump in.
So going
Back
back to
in.
what Ranji said earlier, how parents with friends hang out with other parents who have friends. I
Mm,
remember talking to my one friend, and they do go like mommy's night out. They go out with other moms to hang out and
Hmm.
party and whatever. And she said that they made a rule where they're allowed to mention their child once. And if anyone misses their child past that, they're taking shots. Every time you mention your child, because they don't want to sit there and talk about their kids all day long either.
they want to get
But
out. Mm,
yeah, they want to get out, and but there's on the flip side, I do remember a friend talking about how she was unmarried at that time and didn't have any children. And all her friends were married with young children. And she's like, I love them. I love seeing them. I love my nieces and nephews. But I don't want to sit there and look at a million pictures of them. Like, I
Oh.
get it.
Mm-hmm.
They just smiled here. They're smiling over there. Like, and I was like, I get that. I get that.
I
But
visited
now
a
that, I'm a pet parent. Yeah. Yeah, I was just gonna say, I show my dog pictures to everybody who wants to see or doesn't want to see. But yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
I recently visited a friend who I hadn't seen in a while. Actually, this was a couple years ago that I visited her, and we go long periods of time without being able to see each other because she lives in a different state. And whenever I got there, I was excited to reconnect with her because
Mm-hmm.
she was who I missed in the friendship. And I hung out with her kids, and I love kids, but after the kids went to bed, I was really looking forward to like pouring a glass of wine and catching up on how she was as an individual.
Mm-hmm.
And instead, she projected all of the pictures onto the TV screen of her kids. And I enjoyed that for a while because I needed to catch up, right, with what they'd been doing.
Mm-hmm.
But holy moly, it went on and on and on and on and on. And I was like looking around. I didn't want to be rude. And I was just like looking around for the nearest sharp object to put myself out of my misery. And I just, it was brutal.
Right. And
Mhm.
this is that's kind of my thing where it's like, it's a good friend. So how do they not realize that this is one-sided, that she's not taking in your life or your feelings in that situation. And I've had that too, where it's a good friend. And it, like Rachel said, you should be able to tell them, hey, I'm tired. I've seen enough pictures. Can I go to bed? But like when it comes to actually saying something like that, I can't seem to
So
do it.
hard.
Like I would have
Me
faked
either.
a bee sting or something and
Well,
like fallen off the couch
Right?
dead and like, oh,
yeah.
did you see that bee?
See,
Like,
that's where we as single friends have to try in a way to remind our friends who they are too, and just be nice
mhm,
to like, oh, I love these pictures, but you know what? I want to know about you. What's going on with you? How are you feeling? What's been like, or is it just all consuming
there is no
by your
you. Maybe her
I don't
you is
think, yeah.
that, and that's it. Mm.
but
Yeah.
that's, you think that, and then because I've had these conversations with mothers specifically, and you know, then they kind of break down. They're like, I love my kid, but I don't know who I am. They forget who they
Mhm.
are, and they're like, I want to do more, but it's like this is my life right now. It's all
Mhm.
consuming. And then I have other friends who are like, oh my gosh, thank you for reminding me. I've been wanting to, I can't wait for my child to start talking or doing something else so I can start all my other interests again. And sometimes, yeah, you just have to wait it out. You have to wait that period out with your friend.
Yeah, like
And,
Randy was saying that they're in,
their kids get,
survival
yeah,
mode in the beginning.
yeah. And um, yeah, I think of it as like now I have new mini friends too, because as they start talking, my friend's daughter
Then things
loves
get
to give me
interesting.
advice.
I
Yeah,
don't know
my
because I've
friend's
had
daughter gives me
friends
so much
where,
advice.
yeah,
Hmm.
the kid, yeah, if you're not around them that much, they forget who you are. So, if it's
Hmm.
not friends that live near me, I'll meet their child and it's like, oh my God, I love you. And then the next year it's like, remember me? It's Auntie Vicky. And they're like, who is this? Who? Like, who are you? I haven't
Hmm.
seen you in a year and I have no idea. You have to reintroduce yourself. Like, I
Yeah.
have to start over.
I
Um,
mean, yeah, but as they get older and older and you keep reintroducing yourself, their
They're
memory
like,
starts to get better. So,
yeah.
because I had friends whose kids are older now, and I wasn't part of their lives that much when they were younger because they lived in a different state.
Mm,
But as they get older, they're like, oh yeah, yeah, and they'll have actual
stations.
conversations with me. And
Mm,
then the year next, they'll be like, yeah, remember, blah blah blah. So as they get older, I'm building friendships with my friends'
mhm.
kids, and I love it. I'm just like, ah, keep me young. Like, what's what's going
That's
on?
true. And then we get to return them back to their families and we don't have to worry about raising them. And
Yeah.
yeah, just spoil
Now,
them and go.
Now, the financial part of it, as the kids get older, I'll buy the kids' birthday gifts, and I'm like, dear friends, you're out. No gifts for you.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you
Just for
expect
your
your friends
sake.
to buy you a birthday present then because you spent money on their kids?
I don't ever expect a gift from anyone, but my friends do buy me a gift, or they buy gifts for my
Um,
dogs. They bought gifts for my dogs.
well,
I'm
that's
just like,
that's
oh, my
cool. That's a
baby.
nice way of reciprocating
So,
it. Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
That's
This just
cool.
goes to prove that I have good friends.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe
Like,
this is a bad example because Rachel's got really nice, well-adjusted friends. I've met some of them.
let's
Like one of
let's talk
them,
about your friends. Let's talk
my
about the
friends are
ones
all
that
messed
you
up.
not friends
Although
are
you're
with.
my friends too, so
Well, we're not married, so.
I will say
but
this. I do have an expectation that, so I have dogs. I've always had dogs in place of kids because I've just
mm,
never been in a situation to have children. So I expect my friends to show some, like, an appropriate level of enthusiasm about my dogs. So, like,
right,
that may not be their thing, but like, you need to find it in yourself
right,
then
because
if you
yeah,
want me
they
to
expect
support
you.
your children and your family, right? Like, it has to be reciprocal because you feel, eventually you just feel depleted if you don't feel like you're getting the support back in some way, whatever that means to you, whatever way you need to get it back. It might take some communication though, because I don't know that people know exactly what you need, so you have to be willing to express it. I think that's only fair,
I think
which is
that's a
hard.
hundred. That nails this whole thing on the head. I think exactly what you just said because even if it's not intentional, as these things creep up in your friendship, you start to feel a little resentment because it's so one-sided. And
Hmm.
it's not even like resentment in a horrible way, but it's just little things that bug you about that. And
You're
it
just like,
adds, it adds,
oh,
it adds to the debt.
mm-hmm.
Right. And then you get to a certain point where you're like, oh, this is all one-sided. Do I
Why am I
keep,
doing this?
right, exactly. Do I keep investing in this losing enterprise or do I cut my losses and
Mhm.
go? Um, and I think that's kind of the whole crux of it at what point or does that happen? So yeah, you
Rachel,
got
interestingly, Rachel seems to have the easiest time between all three of us of
I know.
navigating this situation. Do you think that's because Korean culture just values families more than other cultures? I just noticed, like, I don't know, like, I just love Asian families, how they all cook together, and it just seems more cohesive and just more
Hmm.
um, value put on the family
You
unit
know
and
what?
families and communities in general.
Interesting. Maybe.
It might be something ingrained for me from childhood because my mom's friends, their kids were all my friends, but I don't think my mom was friends with any singles. I mean, well, but it's a different
I wasn't either.
generation.
There weren't many singles for that generation.
There weren't
Right,
many singles
exactly.
for that generation. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's a cultural thing or not. Um,
Well, I'm
'Cause
jealous of you with this because it sounds lovely how you're managing it.
I think because most of your nieces
I
and
think I
nephews
just
are
like my
Korean,
friends.
right? Too?
Um, Majority of them,
Mm,
but no, not
not
all
all
of
of them.
them.
Mm.
Um, no, and yeah, it's really how I missed a lot of the chunk of the early years because a lot of my friends are older, and so they had their children, and that we were all in different states, so
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
it was hard enough to catch up anyways. So it's always phone calls, and we valued those phone call times because it's like, oh yeah, and they were always very interested in what was going on in my life
Living
because
vicariously.
Right.
yeah, they were living
True.
vicariously through me. So, so it was just it's like a different thing. But going back to like weddings and singles and the spending the money thing, if they're lucky, your friend will only have one wedding and one bachelorette party. You can have as many birthday parties as you want. So, in a
Mm.
way, anyone watching, if you feel, like it's unbalanced and you feel like it's unfair, just throw lavish birthday parties for yourself
Yeah,
every
why
year.
not? Mm.
And you better be like, girl, you're coming to my birthday party every year,
Or your
as
dog's
many as you
birthday
can.
party or whatever. Yeah, exactly.
My expectations are very low.
I'm trying to think.
I just expect support on social media when I post my dog's birthday post every year. Like, I want likes, I want comments, and I want DMs. You're my
Okay. Perfect. Done.
Which, Randy, you never sent me the picture of Juice in a onesie. Just saying. I've been
This is
waiting
in a
for it.
onesie?
Yeah, so Deuce had some little, and it's pathetic. He had a bunch of little like growths, kind of warts that benign, but they were itchy and irritating him. And he had a bunch of them. I think he had like 11 of them cut off. And so he's got these little scabs all over, and he's incessantly licking them. And so he's
Wow.
so small. I still have trouble parenting a dog this small with Great Danes. Like, he's 16 pounds, and I don't know what to do with him a lot of the times. And so I felt like a cone was too crazy, so I bought a baby onesie to put on him to cover the spots. And
Perfect.
he hates me. I mean, it works perfectly, but he's not a fan.
He would hate you for the cone too, though.
Yeah, I
Probably.
think the cone would be
Either
worse.
way.
It's just, getting that through his head's a little difficult. He
I'm
can't
telling you,
understand.
humans are fur babies alike. They're all mine. All my nephews and nieces, they're all mine.
Oh, it's too
But
funny.
yeah, I think we should start having lavish birthday parties like that lady on TikTok said. Now
Yes.
to far away, like out of the country, once in a while, because
I think it was just her 30th that she was throwing like a big event. It wasn't something she'd do every year. But
I think
yeah,
girls
I
get
mean,
crazy. Sorry, Vicky.
no, go
I
ahead.
yeah,
didn't mean to. I was gonna something going back to something you said earlier, Vicky, how you said that women can turn into bridezillas and how difficult that is to manage. I think part of that is because there's this remnant of social expectation for women that literally the biggest day of your life is your wedding, and you are raised the whole point of your life is to get married and have children. And I think we're getting away from that. And if that's your thing and that's your goal, cool. But
Right.
wasn't so long ago that women were kind of forced into that. That's really the only viable options they had. And so I think that's why so much pressure is put on the damn wedding, even to this day. We just,
Yeah.
it's like it's,
hmm
seared into our brains that it's the most important thing, or our most important day we're going to have in our whole life. That's crazy.
Yeah. And it's
I don't
also,
see
I
it like
think
that at
social
all.
media has kind of upped that ante where it's like I'm posting. I mean, my friend had a hashtag. Like they have custom hashtags
Oh, I
for
know.
their wedding
yeah.
or their bachelorette party and all this kind of stuff so they can show off on social media. So like, well, my bachelorette party is going to be, in New York at the, or in Mexico or whatever. And that's just the bachelorette party. And then you still have to get through the wedding and you have to, and it's all this money and all this showing off on social media so that everyone can follow their hashtag or follow this. And it's like, oh my God, it's crazy. How many bridesmaids dresses do we have that you can never wear again that you're expected to buy? And you have to buy a certain dress and you have to, follow their, it used to be you just showed up in your nicest dress and you were in the wedding. Now it's like, oh no, you have to go to this certain place and get this certain dress in this certain color. And then you have to, have pre-photos and you have to get your hair and makeup done and you're expected to pay for your own hair and makeup. And what? It's insane.
Oh, I was a bridesmaid once. That's right. So I did have a friend who got married and I was part of their wedding. And the dress is beautiful. And I didn't have to pay for hair and makeup.
Yeah, I was in
Again,
three.
Rachel's friends are not a good example of this.
Yeah, but the dress, I can't fit into it anymore. So I actually gave it back to my friend because her daughter wants to wear it. So
Oh,
they're kind of
nice.
altering a little bit for her daughter. So yeah, I know. I'm sorry. My friends are horrific, so I can't talk about it.
Yeah, you're a bad
I was
example. Hush.
So I've been in three weddings as a
Mm.
bridesmaid, and fortunately, I actually really like all of that celebratory stuff. None of my
hmm
friends were bridezillas. As a matter of fact, what stressed me out is one of them was not wanting to plan anything, and she was stressing me out. I'm like, we need more control over this situation. Like that was making me crazy.
Or like the opposite.
Gosh. But I never wore the dresses again, but I didn't mind. And it was money out of my pocket, but fortunately at that point in my life it wasn't, it wasn't an issue and I enjoyed it. But
Hmm.
none of them were like really expensive destination weddings or anything like that. So
Hmm. Or having to do hair and makeup and photos and
trying to
pre-meetings and
think. Yeah, I'm trying to think. One of the weddings I was in, the bride paid for the hair and makeup, which was fun because we all went to the salon together, and it was kind of like
yeah, a bonding
part of
thing. Hmm.
part of the thing. Yeah. I feel like the other ones I just did my own. I think. Yeah, I just did my own.
Well, people leave if anybody is watching this, leave in the comments below if you have any like crazy horror stories about what you had to pay for with your friends getting married or any of that kind of stuff or what your stories are because I think these ladies have such awesome friends. It's kind of like I want to hear the bad side of it because our
there
friends
was
are really great.
no,
Go
there
ahead.
is a story. My
Okay.
sister, do I blast? Because secondhand story. She had to buy a bridesmaid's dress, and it was
Uh,
terrible. The dress was just terrible, and it was expensive. And I just remember her saying, and then she had to get all these alterations, and then
uh-huh.
Yeah.
alterations on top of the alterations because the alterations were wrong or something. After she altered it, they're like, the bride's like, no, or something. I don't remember. But yeah, she had to spend a lot of money on that. And they were out of town. The friend didn't live in the same city at the time. So for the bachelorette party, she couldn't go, but she had to send money because she was a bridesmaid. And she's like, well, you're expected to send money for us to have a bachelorette party because you're a bridesmaid.
Wait.
Yeah, see, this is the stuff that yeah, that I
Yeah.
have heard
So
about.
she had to send money what for like what her part of the hotel would be or something or what was the
For
money?
just all their festivities, whatever they were going to spend for the bachelorette party, she had to send a portion.
Especially if you're the
So
Even
maid
though
of
she
honor,
couldn't
you're
go?
expected to do even more
even if she couldn't
things.
go,
Mm.
yeah.
And
And I
say you
have
get
heard
2 weeks
that
of
from a lot of
vacation a
people.
year. Yeah. Say you're working a regular job, you get 2 weeks of vacation a year. Maybe you've already taken a couple days for whatever. You maybe have a week left. Then you have to take that time that you've worked hard for to go to someone else's. I know that sounds really mean of me, but like if it's a wedding that you're not even that excited about, or maybe you don't know them that well, or you're going with your partner to someone else's wedding and you have to take that time to go to this destination wedding or whatever, or the bachelorette weekend. And it's like, even that part I resent because it's like, I waited all year to have a week to go do my thing and I have to spend it on your thing. And if I don't, I'm a terrible friend and you hate me and it's over. And if I do, I'm going to resent you for having to go. Like,
Yeah.
what happened to Saturday weddings where I just showed up and you got married and then I went to reception and then we all got drunk and went home? Like, I love that. Why isn't anyone doing that anymore? I
That's a
don't
good
know.
point. And people are now doing such exotic, complicated things for their weddings. Back in the day, like in my mother's day, everybody just got married in their hometown. It was always the bride's hometown.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't, you know, it wasn't so difficult to support a person in that way as it is now
Right. It's
sometimes.
Mhm.
kind of crazy, I
Yeah.
think. But
And
anyway.
Asian weddings, there's no gift registry. You just bring an envelope. You can decide
Money?
how much goes in that envelope.
You just give them money?
Just give money. Yeah.
But you guys don't buy, there's no registry, you don't buy gifts?
A lot of the Korean weddings that I know, it was no registry. I think nowadays,
I
the
love
more
that.
modern,
Mhm, me
younger,
too.
they do a registry, so you can choose to pick something from the registry or show up with an envelope. So
Hmm.
I want
I'm gonna
envelopes.
try this.
If I ever decide I want to have a wedding or get married, envelopes.
Give me the
I don't
money.
care. It could
Send
be
me
five
money.
You
dollars.
gotta pay
I
for
don't care.
you gotta pay
If
for the
it's
wedding that you're throwing.
Uh,
That
I
too,
don't
because
care
your
about
parents used to
stuff.
pay for it. Yeah, now they
Mhm.
can't. Well, maybe they can, but a lot of them can't. So
I
But
got
a lot of people
invited
are
to a
paying for
wedding. Oh, sorry, go
mm,
ahead.
no, a lot of people are paying for their own weddings now. So
A lot of people are. I was just going to say I got invited to a wedding from a friend who is relocated out of state. her wedding's at the end of the month and I can't go. I can't get the time off work. But I'm going to send a gift just because,
Hmm.
you know,
Mhm.
I wanted
What
to
about,
show her support in some way. But I wonder if she's going to be
yeah,
a little bit resentful that I'm not actually there in person.
they don't
Hoping.
understand or they don't want to understand. But
I think
also,
she would understand.
I bought gifts for weddings, and what's the protocol for when they get divorced within a year? And you've bought this present, and that's happened to me before, where I've spent the time and the money to go to the wedding and bought the present, and all that, and they got divorced with less than a year. I was like, can I get a refund? You didn't even last a year. Damn it.
Well, that's on, I would say
Vicky wants a guest prenup.
that's on you.
Thank you. Perfect.
I'm going to
I
come
want
to
a
your
friendship
wedding and give you
prenup.
this gift
Right.
if you sign on the dotted line and agree to these conditions.
You have to last at least a year if I'm going to spend over $100 on you.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of if you think a relationship is already toxic and you're like, that one's not gonna last, I'm gonna make up whatever lie not to go.
Ooh, what about
Exactly.
that? What about that? What about having to stand up and go to or even not be in the wedding, but let's say go and support a wedding that you feel like you're not very supportive of the whole relationship. Like, what if, you have a girlfriend that is marrying a guy that you think is not good for her?
Yeah.
What do you do then?
You shut up and you go.
I
I
didn't
think so
go.
You don't
too.
say anything. Don't say anything. That's what I say.
Don't say
Go,
anything. No,
smile,
don't say anything
nod.
because they're gonna resent it and it's gonna come back and bite you in the butt. But
Let me tell you, that
uh,
happened to me. I
it
had
happened
a
to me
friend
too.
that I was, but you know what? I don't regret how I handled it. I hate how it ended. I wish it had a different, ending. But I had a friend, a really good friend in college. She was engaged to this guy. I think they were living together. And I, without going into too much detail, found out like 100% for sure that when she was out of town one day, he cheated on her or tried to.
Mm-hmm.
And she and I had lost a little bit of contact, but we were close enough to where, I mean, I was going to be going to the wedding and you know what I mean? Things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I really thought about this and I was like, how would I want someone to treat me in this situation? And I'm the type of person that would always want to know, right?
Yeah.
So I took a big deep breath and I went to her and I came to her with my evidence, like all the receipts, right? And she just refused to believe it. Married him anyway. I wasn't invited to the wedding and we were never friends after.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably better because then if you hadn't said anything and you had been friends and you'd had to witness that the whole time, you would have felt terrible. So the friendship would have been
Oh,
gone anyway. So what's the
I,
difference?
I, I couldn't have handled the guilt
Yeah.
because what if she would have
Now,
made a different decision had she had the information? So I think I
Mm-hmm.
did the right thing, but it just sucks.
It does.
no, you definitely did. If it's something you had 100% proof of, you
Yeah.
have
Oh,
to
yeah.
say something.
Yeah.
There's no, you have to, because
Yeah.
Yeah.
if it's any of you guys, I'm gonna straight up tell you guys, don't do it. He's a jerk. Don't do it. I'm not coming to your wedding. I'm not your friend anymore. If you're dumb enough
All
to
right.
go look past this.
We need to have a discussion. This guy.
Have we gone off topic? I feel like we've gone
I was
off
gonna
topic,
say we're now on the
but I'm
marriage
having fun.
topic. Sorry. We should. We
No,
should. We
but
should. But if this is
we
something we
should
should
wrap
talk
it
about.
up. So yeah,
But
let
yeah, if you guys want us to talk about horror marriage wedding stories, I'm sure we have lots of those. We could riff on that on a different day
well
if you
just
guys want. Request it.
do you even the topic of do you tell a friend dot 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 if
Dot
you
dot.
know something?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
that'd be a great thing.
um,
Let's talk about that.
but
And
to
if
wrap up
you
today's
are,
show, uh-huh.
Yeah.
just real quick, if you are married and you feel like your single friends have abandoned you, I'd love to read some stories
Together.
like that in the
Yeah,
comments.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
The opposite.
Yeah,
So,
because
I
I
mean
can't speak to that as a single person.
Mm-hmm.
that's a perfect wrap up. I was just going to say, all you single people out there with your friends who are married or with children, just wait it out. Wait it out. If you're feeling,
It's eventually gonna go away.
wait it out. All right. Thanks for joining us on Social Intercourse today. And we'll see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.